The time is now to architect a life of excellence. What will we do? Who will we become? We decide today. This is Learn, Do, Become Radio with April and Eric Perry. Let's move onward and upward together.
Hello and welcome to today's episode of Learn, Do, Become Radio. I hope you're having a great day, and I'm very, very excited to talk with you about how you can actually get out of the overwhelm immediately if you're ever in the overwhelm, and how we can help you to actually get to the point where you don't feel overwhelmed at all. So wherever you are on that journey, we're thrilled that you're here. Today we're talking about the concept of a step command central, what that is, why it matters to you, and how we're actually going to learn how to live our purpose as we build this. Now, to be honest, I have felt really nervous preparing for this podcast because what I'm sharing with you is so close to my heart, and this dream that I'm working toward is so important to me. I mean, it's about 10 years in the making. And as things have become more and more clear over the past few months, I'm worried that I'm going to do it wrong, or I won't explain it carefully enough, and I've had all those worries, and I'm sure you understand. But I've decided to just jump right in and start talking about it, because this really matters, not just to me, but I believe that it's going to really, really matter to you. I feel like it's my responsibility or personal mission to help God's children not to feel overwhelmed. Now, if you have a different definition or perspective of a higher power than I do, I'm totally fine with that. And if you're okay with that, I want us to be able to really build on common ground. That I believe that there is a higher power, and I believe there's a higher purpose for each of us. But trying to actually connect with our higher power, or trying to achieve that purpose, and trying to actually create systems that support us with all the things that we need to do, sometimes feels challenging. And today I'm going to share why I believe building a step command central on every desk is going to change the world. Okay, let me just back up for a minute, because some of you might be thinking, what are you talking about? What is a step command central? So STEP stands for Steps to Everyday Productivity. That's our signature program that we have here at Learn, Do, Become. A command central is a seamless system that holds your ideas, papers, thoughts, goals, tasks, and all your stuff in a way that works with your brain. So you never have to think about those items until it's time to work on a specific task. And then at that point, you can find anything you need within 30 seconds. My goal is that you would spend zero time looking for things. And I think it's important for me to actually start by explaining why a step command central is so unique and why it's so needed today. Because there are thousands and thousands of amazing people and amazing resources out there to help you to get organized. And I appreciate them. I've learned from them. I love them. I love David Allen. I've learned so much from his getting things done methodology. I love Marie Kondo and the whole concept of how to tidy up and how to be able to only keep things that spark joy. I'm a huge fan of Fly Lady and Julie Morgenstern, all of the amazing organizers who are out there sharing tips and tricks and ideas and new apps and strategies and things like that. I love it. And there's a lot out there, but even in the organization space, it can get a little bit overwhelming. So I want to explain why a step command central is so unique. And when you build a step command central, it doesn't replace everyone else out there and all the other resources out there. It gives you a way to incorporate them without the overwhelm. So what I found is that most tools or programs for organization either narrow in on one specific part of being organized, or they just kind of hack at the branches. The Step Command Central is a system that actually gets to the root of the issue. It helps you organize your whole brain and actually shows you what it looks like And then we'll work with those other programs and tools and books and things like that that you would like to use or implement. Now, particularly when I'm speaking or engaging with mental health professionals, therapists, counselors, etc., and I get a lot of emails from people in these industries, I'm noticing that there are several kinds of strategies that are being used to help people reduce their stress or think positive thoughts. But very rarely is there accompanying training on how to handle the everyday details of life. So if someone is living in piles of stuff, they might learn some therapy that will help them not have their worth reflected in what their house looks like and things like that. But learning how to clean it up and keep everything moving isn't typically part of that training or part of that therapy. Now, David Allen, in his book, Getting Things Done, talks about starting with the everyday things, your lists, emails, tasks, routines, projects, getting all that stuff under control, because then your mind is clear. So what I've done is I've learned from all these amazing people and created a very simple step-by-step process to help people build it. That's what the Step Command Central is. Also, most people do not know what mental clarity is. So we'll read books, or we'll attend seminars, or we'll sit in church, or we'll listen to podcasts, and we'll think, yes, I want to be calm and present, and I want to be focused on my family and God and nature and my purpose. But it is really hard to do that when bills are late, or you're out of milk, or you have 1,000 emails to think about, or you're way behind on your life goals that you set for yourself. And that stress takes over far too often, and people literally feel like they're drowning. I had a friend come up to me the other day and he said, I need your program. I need to walk through this because I'm always talking about doing things, but then I don't do things and I forget appointments and I'm overwhelmed by my thousands of emails and I just feel stressed. If you have a lot of responsibilities on your plate and you're living in disorder, you're just going to feel even more stress. And then people are embarrassed because they don't know that there's actually a solution to that. Or they think it's their fault, or they're afraid to even talk about it because they don't want people to think that they're lacking or they're just disorganized. And so instead, people end up spending all this time on social media or watching TV or doing something that's going to distract them because they're so overwhelmed by what's sitting right in front of them. Now, here is the question that will let you know if you need a Step Command Central or not. This is something I'll often ask to people who are on our webinars, and it's this. Would you be okay living the rest of your life using the systems you currently have? Or systems you don't currently have? Because some people genuinely are. They say, well, yeah, I have piles, but it's fine. I generally have a happy life. I love my family. Things are going along just fine. Now, if that's where you are, you still may very much enjoy building a command central because it's just going to make you even happier. But I don't know that the pain point is deep enough. If right now things are going pretty well and you feel fine, that's awesome. I don't think you necessarily need to build a Step Command Central. But if you're thinking, I can't keep going like this, I'm exhausted, I'm stressed, I'm frustrated, I'm falling behind, I need something to change, then this is the best solution that I can offer you. And this is where my passion is. Because could you imagine if there was a Step Command Central on every desk, which I'm about to explain to you what that looks like and how it works, but if everyone had mental clarity, and if no one had to look for things and no one procrastinated because they just knew what they needed to do and their lists were manageable and they could find what they needed, that would change the world and that would be amazing. So I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about what the Command Central is. Because when you think about it, if you Google Command Central, you'll see a whole lot of stuff. People will put up a bulletin board and they have a mail holder and they have a place for incoming and outgoing and they're like, hey, here's my Command Central, which is great. I think that's a great start. But a Step Command Central is a little bit different. Now, when you actually build it, you can use any materials you would like. You could just use file folders. You could use cereal boxes. You could use whatever you have handy. So inside our program, we have all these pictures showing you like there's a lot of ways you can build it. And I'm going to link to the post on Learn, Do, Become, where we've included, here's what my Command Central looks like. Here's links to all my favorite resources and all of that. So to see everything we're talking about in today's podcast, just go to learndobecome.com/episode 45. So just episode 45. And we'll have all the links and you can get all of this information. And if you're just listening right now while you're driving or something like that, just remember, go back and go visit that page because we're going to show you exactly what it looks like. I often refer to a Command Central as building a machine. And I know this sounds a little bit weird, but the reason why is because I think of it like a car. Now, you know, when you're driving a car, you have to have all the parts of a car. Like if the radiator's missing or a couple tires are missing or there's no engine or there's no steering wheel. I mean, you're not going to be able to drive a car unless it has all of the basic functions covered. And that's pretty clear. But a Step Command Central is the exact same way. And on the page that we'll link to in the show notes, where I have all my favorite Step Command Central resources, I actually include our diagram that explains the 3 parts of the Command Central and everything that's included. So basically I'm showing you, here's all the parts to the car. Now sometimes it looks a little overwhelming because there's like 14 parts or something like that. And people might think, oh, that's just a lot. But it's kind of like if I just showed you all the parts of a car. I mean, there's way more than 14 parts of a car. You might think, oh, it's overwhelming. But once you learn how to build it, then you don't need to worry about it anymore. You build it once and it lasts for the rest of your life. So the easy way to think about the Step Command Central is that we divide up the resources that we're going to be using, and I'll explain them, into things with which we engage daily, things with which we engage weekly, and then things that we only engage with on an as-needed basis. So what we're doing is helping organize your mind so you don't need to think about everything. Most people have flat surface disease, so they put everything out on flat surfaces so they won't forget it. We're not going to do that. I'll just briefly explain how it works. Let's start with the Engage Daily resources. These are things like your calendar, just looking at that, making sure you know which appointments you have. It's clean and clear and open like a canvas. You have a context-based next actions list where it's flexible tasks organized by where you are when you're getting them done, like home activities, phone calls, errands, computer, things to discuss. Super simple. And you keep your emails to 0. Pretty basic. We also just have some little landing spots you check daily, like, oh, my mailbox, my, place on the kitchen counter where the kids put their papers. Basic landing spots. But that's a very focused list of things that you need to look at on a daily basis. You can do that. Then we have a section for your weekly review, which consists of things like your inbox, current projects, routines, waiting list, goals, and read and review resources. Now I'm going to probably create more podcasts in the future going deeper into these, or our program explains all of it, okay? And then things that you engage with as needed. This is beautiful because this is where we take everything that's typically sitting on our flat surfaces and we put them into places where they're easy to access when we need them. So we do have a filing cabinet. But a lot of people, that's all they have is a filing cabinet. And whoever wants to file, so you never file. We have a very simple filing cabinet. We have a simple area to keep support materials for your current projects or current routines. We have what's called a tickler file, where you can put papers or ideas or things that you need to reference at a certain date. So it's all linked to your calendar. And then we have a someday and an incubation. So we just show you, hey, here's how you put together your daily, weekly, and as-needed resources. Then we're going to show you how every single thought, idea, project, text, all of it has a landing spot. That was the biggest aha for me and what got me so excited about this more than 10 years ago when I finally learned I didn't have to have anything in limbo anymore. Nothing had to be just sitting in my mind or sitting on my nightstand or sitting on my dresser. Everything had a place. And then it wasn't just my papers And it wasn't just my emails, and it wasn't just my thoughts. It was then getting my whole house organized and my life plan and building a business and all the things that went with it. Now, we put a photo of my Command Central with some of the labels on it, showing people what it looks like on social media. And everyone said, can you just tell me where you bought all those things? Because I want to buy that. Now, Command Central doesn't have to look like mine, but Krista and our team member just put together a beautiful post, and I helped provide all the links to my favorite things, and she put together an awesome post with everything linked. So go to the learntobecome.com/episode 45, and we'll have a link there and you can see it. Or you can just go to Learn, Do, Become and you can search, links for my step Command Central. Okay. But it's so fun. And I'll at least show you how you could get started. Okay. All right. But I want to talk a little bit more about what this did for me personally and how I am currently using this Command Central. Now, we also have some awesome interviews of our community members on our website. You can scroll through the whole productivity section at Learn, Do, Become and see videos and listen to podcast interviews. And I mean, it's awesome how the whole community has just come to life. Also, learndobecome.com/step-testimonials. There's pictures and quotes and photos of before and afters. Like, it's awesome. So you can go check that out. But I wanted to share a few stories about how a Command Central has really affected me personally. I built my first Command Central about 10 years ago after reading Getting Things Done and thinking, okay, I'm going to make this work. We had 4 young children, and I was feeling stressed out most of the time. I wasn't present. My kids would ask me to play with them, and I'd be like, sorry, I have too much to do. And I felt like my life was just me keeping up with everything. I was the martyr. I was cranky when Eric would get home from work. And I felt like I want to be this awesome, relaxed, amazing person. And instead, I am the stressed out, angry wife and mother who can't make anything of her life because there's too much on me. I never said that, but that's how I felt. Or maybe I did say it. I don't know. When I built my Step Command Central, I was walking around my house looking for something to do because everything was done and my mind was calm for probably the first time in my life. And I remember my son, Ethan, saying, Mom, do you want to come play soccer with me? And for the first time in his life, I said yes. And I went out in the backyard and kicked the soccer ball, and I was amazed that my brain wasn't saying, oh wait, but you have this, oh wait, but you have that. Like, I was present for the first time in my life. But then about a year afterwards, Eric and I found ourselves in a rut, and we were totally stuck. He was working a full-time job, and he had some volunteer positions in our community and in our church. And we had all these little children, and I had some health problems. And we had these dreams of starting a business together and reaching our goals together and doing all this work together. But every night when he would get home, we would just watch TV, and then we would go to sleep, and then we would start again the next day. And we did have a little office, but the office was full of boxes and stuff. We couldn't even go in there. We never went in there. And I remember thinking, okay, we are stuck. We are in a rut. But what could I do? Because I had learned through this system, through building my Command Central, that I could make a project and I could get projects done. So I didn't have problems anymore. I had projects. So I remember spending a lot of time in prayer and thinking, and then asking, okay, what could I do to move this forward? And when I really, really thought about it, I thought, well, we need to be able to build a business. Well, but we need an office. Well, but we don't have any room in the office because we need more storage. Well, what if we built more storage? How would we do that? Where would we put it? And it became a discussion item between me and Eric on my to discuss list. We talked about it and realized, hey, we could build some storage up in our attic. There's actually space there, but we need to put some plywood down and we need a light bulb up there. Who could do that? So we had a few contractors, and that became my phone call list to call these contractors and have them come over and give us a bid. Isn't that funny that to get out of that rut, the next action was to get a contractor over so that we could figure out what it would cost to build storage, so we could clean out the office, so we could use the office to build a business. I mean, it's about learning how to go all the way down, boil that next action all the way down. So we did. We built that storage, we moved everything out, we organized the office, and then I started working with Eric to be able to build our businesses together. It's been a long road, but that's what helped us to get where we are today. Another thing I want to talk about is the ability to finally turn off my mind. When I always had thoughts and task lists running through my head, I was never present. But I am so grateful that I learned how to have mental clarity and how to leave all my thoughts in the command central so I could be present with my family right when my mom was in the early stages of Alzheimer's. So she started losing her memory, and my dad would call me and say, "Hey, could you come out and spend some time with Mom?" And I wanted to spend time with them anyway, but we lived about an hour away. And as we noticed what was happening, and my dad needed some more help taking care of her, giving her her nightly bath or preparing some meals, and then eventually it was just visiting because she had full-time staff in there to care for her. And then my sister was able to care for her. But I was able to go every Thursday with our children because Eric had meetings Thursday nights. So I would take all our children and we'd drive an hour and we'd bring dinner and we would spend a few hours with my parents. And I got to be fully present every Thursday for years until my mom passed away and, our family's moved now out of state. But I have all those years spending that time with our children and with my parents. So I have zero regrets. Also thinking about our life right now. Eric and I work from home and, run our business, and we have our 4 children. I don't always want to be doing things. I don't always want to be on my phone or my computer. I want to be present. And while, yes, we have to balance our work with our children and our needs, I have no regrets with the time with our teenagers and with the time with our 11-year-old. We're able to snuggle, and we had our We Love to Be a Family Day recently. Take a day every year. We have a little map with hearts on it. It's super fun. But we have dinners together. We talk together. We spend time together. And I'm not always thinking about that next task. That is huge. And running a business with Eric, there's a lot going on behind the scenes. We have contractors that we hire. We have tech support stuff going on, building new systems. We're transitioning to a brand new member login right now, building the podcast, building social media, getting just all of this awesome stuff out there, which I'm thrilled about. But there's a lot going on. It is my STEP Command Central that enables me to help run this, and our team, all of them use their STEP Command Central so that we trust each other. The business runs smoothly. We can depend on one another, and we don't have to feel that stress and that overwhelm. So that's just a little bit about my personal experience and why I'm so passionate about this. And I just want to close by talking a little bit more on finding your purpose. I believe that it's ingrained in each of us to live with purpose. I think we're born with that desire to create and to make an impact. But when you are living in piles of stuff, you can't really think about your purpose and impact because all you're doing is managing the day-to-day. But when you're out of those piles of stuff, mentally, physically, emotionally, your purpose starts to become more clear. Now, it's taken me a long time to really identify what it is I'm meant to do. I've tried lots of things. We've written 3 books, done multiple podcasts. I've created multiple online programs. We've done in-person retreats. We've done virtual summits. I was flying across the country doing in-person organizing sessions. But what keeps coming back to the front and center is this mission to help you build your command central so you will never feel overwhelmed. And it's been kind of hard on me in the background a little bit because I keep wanting to focus on the command central, but I keep thinking, well, are people going to think it's boring? Do people really care as much about this as I do? Or is it too narrow a focus? Or are there other things I need to be talking about? I've had a really hard time essentializing and just focusing on this. But lately, especially, every time I start to work on some other project or go down some other path, I almost feel like sick to my stomach. And it's like, April, that's not where you're supposed to be right now. You're supposed to be helping people to build their command centrals. And so, while I think it might sound kind of silly to people how passionate I am about filing papers and processing and cleaning, it's just my purpose right now. And so I need to be working on it, and I need to make sure I'm explaining it well enough so I can help you to get the results. So right now at Learn to Become, we have a goal to help our community build 25,000 Command Centrals. Some of them I'm actually going to print out pictures and start putting them on my wall around my office. We'll be sharing them on social media. We're trying to figure out how to track that. How do you track that? We already have more than 20,000 members of our STEP programs. So there will obviously be our existing members who are going to be building their Command Central, and new members, because new people are coming in every day, and people in our community who maybe aren't going to formally join a program, but through the podcasts and videos and things we're going to be producing, you can kind of figure it out and put it together. Now, the best way is going to be to come in the program because it's awesome and it's step by step and you have a community. But my goal is 25,000 Command Centrals, and every morning I wake up and I'm visualizing these 25,000 people building their Command Centrals and having that mental clarity, which is awesome. So in our recent team meeting, I was asking our team, what do you feel the role is for this podcast in our efforts? Because, I've been worrying that focus vision would be boring. But here's some ideas from the team. I screenshotted the chat during our team meeting. Here's one of them. I love the idea of offering bits and pieces of the STEP system inside the podcast, like tangible takeaways and realistic talking through life situations, just offering all the things in little bits and pieces. So that's part of it. Another one said, I think the podcast plays a great role in nurturing people, giving them the answers they need so they can build their Command Central and helping them get past any sticking points. We could also bring in guests. We could do bringing the people success stories, coming in short member spotlights, yes. But we want to bring the Command Central to life. So that's my focus. That's what I'm going to be doing. And I'm going to be sharing my heart along the way because this isn't just about organizing. There's so much more that goes into this. And just what I shared recently on social media, I put up a photo of me with my computer on my lap and my baby Spencer on my lap back in 2008. And here's what I shared. It says, this is one of the only photos I can find from the summer of 2008 when Eric and I were starting our first business together. That first endeavor, though a fun idea we might bring back, only lasted a few months. And while I looked fine on the outside, in this photo I was showered, dressed, had makeup on, and even had the laundry folded, I was waking up a little sick to my stomach every morning, wondering how we were going to make things work, especially with 4 young children in a struggling economy. Those were challenging months and years. Life has changed significantly for us over the past 11 years. We're still growing and learning, but we've generally figured out how to make all the crazy details of life work together. And while I am so grateful that I no longer have to worry about those things that felt so heavy years ago, I want to make sure I never forget what that woman in the photo was feeling. I've been talking a lot about the 25,000 step Command Centrals I want to help our community build this year, but I want to publicly clarify my why. It's not because I think everyone has to be organized or because I think the world needs to organize my way. It's because I know what it feels like to be exhausted and wonder where you're going to find the energy you desperately need. And I also know that when you have a functional, simple STEP Command Central in place, you find that you actually already have that energy and the ability to do what needs to be done. For any of you quietly feeling spread too thin, I am fighting for you. Please stay close as more is coming soon. I'm going to go ahead and close the podcast, but I just want to let you know that I believe that you have so much good ahead of you. I believe you were meant to do great things in your families and communities and professions, and I believe that our higher power wants to communicate with us more than what we're currently experiencing. And I know it sounds crazy to think that if I help you organize your calendar and your lists and your emails and papers that you're going to have this, but it's what it's already done for me and what it continues to do for me and thousands of others already. Eric and I have live and on-demand trainings available at learndobecome.com podcast.com/step. I love getting to meet with you and have you chat and being with you online. So come sign up at that URL. We'll have it linked on the show notes page as well. And you can get that link to my Command Central diagram and exactly what we use to build a Command Central at learndobecome.com/episode 45. I'm being really, really prayerful as I work on this. And when I read comments on social media from our community saying things like, I'm going to be one of your 25,000, I can't even tell you what that does for me and for you and for our whole community and ultimately the world. Grateful for you. I'm excited for you. Have an amazing day, and we'll see you soon at learndobecome.com.